In this video, we are going to learn how to create a table and a graph from an equation. But before we get to do that, let's do some review here. What I want two ordered pairs from this table above. Well, I'm just going to take my first two here. I'm going to say x is, so we always go x comma y, and I'm going to look at when x, I'm going to look at this first order pair, so I'm going to have 1 comma negative 2. On my next set of ordered pairs, I'm going to use this 0. So it's going to be 0, comma, negative 7. Because we always go x before y, because x comes before y in the alphabet. That's an easy way of looking at it. Now, how can we use these 2 points to find the equation to this table of values? Well, if we remember, my equation is y is equal to slope multiplied by x plus b, which is my y-intercept. Now, I'm going to look at this here. Can we find my slope? My m value is equal to my change in y divided by my change in x. So I have a point here. We have my change in y goes from negative 2 to negative 7. So I'm going to put this down here. We're going to get negative 2, and then I'm going to say minus negative 7. All over, and here I'm going to have 1 minus 0. So what's that going to give me is I'm going to end up getting a slope of, we have negative 2, 5 over 1. Okay, so I'm going to get y is equal to 5x plus b. Now I'm going to try and find my b value. And whenever I'm trying to find my b value, I'm going to use the smallest set of ordered pairs. So all I have to do is find an x and y value, or a set of ordered pairs of an x and y value to help me find my b value. And I'm going to use a certain one here, and I'll show you why I use the smallest, or when x is 0. So I'm going to use this set of ordered pairs here, 0 and 7. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x, so I get 5 times 0, and we plug in negative 7 for y. And we have plus b. So now I'm going to try to solve for b. Well, 5 times 0 is 0. So that gives us negative 7 is equal to b. So my equation is y is equal to 5x minus 7. All we want to do is find out what is the m and what is the b to make my equation. Now, we're going to work in reverse here. So here we're given an equation. It says consider the line x is equal to 4. Complete the table and the graph. Well, let's first look at the table. If x is equal to 4, there is no y. It doesn't really matter what y is equal to. So no matter what, going down, I'm going to have 4, 4, 4, 4. Because x is always equal to 4. 4, 4, 4. So let's say 4 is going to be right here. So that means all of my values, if I even go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and even the negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Every one of these values is going to be at 4, no matter what. So I end up getting a straight line like this going down. So anytime we have x is equal to just a number and there's no y value, we're going to get a vertical line. Let's look at our next one here. In this case, we're saying y is equal to 4. Well, so it doesn't matter what my x value is, my y value is always going to be 4. And we keep on going. I'm going to get 4, 4, 4. All right, so let's graph this. So let's find my 4 for my y. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this here is going to be 4, and that's going to be my y value. And my x values, it doesn't matter what it is, I could have a 1 here, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to put here a negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And no matter what it's going to be, I'm always going to be at 4. So all of my points here, if I put in my pairs, they're all going to be the y value at 4. So my graph for this one is going to look like this, which means this is a horizontal line at 4. A little rule of thumb. So if you ever see an equation where x is equal to a constant, you'll have a vertical line. If you ever see an equation where y is equal to a constant, you have a horizontal line. Now we're going to do something a little bit more tricky, but this is where we're at. Okay, this is the grade 9 level here. We want to graph this equation here. So I'm going to start with my lowest values. So I'm going to try when x is equal to 0. What will my value be? Well, if x is equal to 0, I'm going to have 1/2. This is going to give me y is equal to negative 1 over 5 times 0. And then I'm going to plus 7. So what's negative 1 over 5 times 0? That's going to be 0. Plus 7 is 7. And that makes sense because this will tell me my y-intercept. So I'm going to plot that point here. So I'm going to have 0, comma 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's my first point. Next, I'm going to do a cheat here and show you a cheat. We know my slope is equal to negative 1 over 5, which is also equal to my change in y over change in x. So that means every time x goes up 5, y must go down 1. So I'm going to move my x up 5, and that's going to be 5, and I'm going to move my y down 1, which is going to be 6. Let's see if that's true. I'm going to quickly plug that into this equation. Y is equal to, and I'm going to have negative 1 over 5, and we're going to put in 5 for x. So I'm going to put a 5, and then I'm going to go plus 7. So what is negative 1/5 times 5? That's going to be negative 1 plus 7, which is equal to 6. So I get y is equal to 6. So that is true. So I'm going to keep on following this pattern now down the table. So my next one, I must go up by 5, and this here must go down by 1. So I'm going to have 10. And this has to go down by 1, so that's going to be 5. Here we're going to go up by 5, and here we're going to go down by 1. So this is going to be 15, and this is going to be 4. Up by 5, which is 20, down by 1, which is going to be 3. So remember how we did that? We did this to make our equation. This was our slope. We did this divided by that. Well, now we're just working in reverse. It tells us what that ratio is. And we keep on going, so I'm going at 25, 30, and I'm going to have 2 and 1. So let's go over this and try this out here. So my next point is going to be at 5. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm going to count these all by 5. So this is going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. All right? Now, every time I go over 5, I must go down 1. Because this is going to be 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So my line's going to go like this. All I need is really 2 because I know it's a straight line. And then I'm going to make my line go like that. And that is how we make a graph.